The Pacers is where it all started. The Paul George, OKC, and then these ultimately leading to these two teams being in the finals. That's crazy. What's even crazier than that is all last season, I have not been a Pacers fan at all. I was probably one of their biggest haters, to be honest with you. Go back and look at other videos. I give details why, but in short, Siakam, we could have got him. They got him. We had Lloyd Pierce, and because him and Trey couldn't get along, they got him. We had a first-round pick that could have gotten us Tyrese Haliburton. He told the Hawks, don't draft me. And then the Hawks and the Pacers, the past two seasons, seem to always it's like a little slight rivalry building there, brewing with the scoring and the three-pointers. And I remember one year the game ended 152 to 151, something like that, in favor of the Pacers, where they both scored over 150 points and we still lost. And then to top it off, Tyrese and Trey are always going against each other with the assist leader, who's the better floor general of their team, of the league. So it just festered. But today, they're winning me over. Watching the game last night, and I always go to the Hawks games with my mom. That's like my road dog. She loves basketball. My 76-year-old mom loves basketball. And last night, I was watching this game, and she started watching it with me. And before I knew it, I just kept paying attention, and she was pulling for these Pacers. She likes the Pacers. She likes their energy. She was cheering them on, and she was fussing at OKC if they made a foul or if it whatever. They scored a basket. She was mad. And I was like, can't leave mom hanging. Come on in here, let's talk about it. What it do, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. While you in here, hit that like, comment, subscribe, notification bell so you can be notified every time Her Takes uploads a new video. All right, let's jump into it. Yeah, these Pacers are doing their thing. They really, really are. And the pieces that they have, and to be honest with you, I have to give the credit to Haliburton. He is most definitely the head of the snake. He really, really is. He is the head, and he's the leader. It seems like everybody's energy bounces off him. He knew last night he had to play in that game. He had to. Even if he couldn't produce the way he normally produced, he had to be that spark. He had to be out there with his guys. And it festers for them. It really, really does. We'll see how it fares for them in OKC Game 7 with that crowd. We shall see. But I'm telling you, this man has a way. He's a really, really good leader. He's that type of leader that, what they call it, rallies the troops. For the Pacers, they really didn't give up a whole lot to when they traded off Paul George. Well, when they gave up Paul George, and at the time, everybody was like, whoa. But my point, I guess, that I was trying to make the opposite. They didn't get back. Well, Sabonis. Sabonis was definitely a rising star. So they got Sabonis, and they got, what's his name? Oladipo, which Oladipo came, and he really balled out when he first got there until he got hurt. With that piece of them getting Sabonis, they were able to flip Sabonis into Haliburton. So therefore, that's how Paul George has a hand in building this team. Because like I said, Haliburton is the key. He really is. Because with his IQ, with his passing, distributing the ball, his floor general skills, he really, really lights a major spark into this offense. And he have them boys running, boy. And they're so fearless. Why? Because he keeps his calm. He's not worried. If they fall behind in a game, he's not worried. He's confident. Their leader is there with him. He believes in them. Even if he has to sit on the bench and nurse his injuries, he shows them that he believes in them, that they can step up and they can take that next step. TJ McConnell has been great. Siakam, we know what he can do. All these ones. My favorite is Mathurin. I love Ben Mathurin, Nembhard, fearless young man. Who else? Naismith. All of these guys are really, really good doing their thing. Turner, Turner, he was, I think Turner was still here when Paul George was. I have to look up. I believe he was. Turner been there for a minute. So, and that's what these oh my God, the Hawks get on my nerves. Sometimes there are pieces that you just don't get rid of, right? Not saying that you're trying to build around that piece, but that's a piece you should keep. And I think one of the pieces that the Hawks messed on was John Collins. He was he was never meant to be a superstar in this league. I never thought that. He was one of my favorites when he was with the Hawks, but I believe that he is a piece that could have been a really, really great role player, not starter, because I do love Jalen Johnson. I'm just worried about Jalen's injury. He was always upbeat. Being a season ticket holder for as long as I was, and I used to sit down on the floor right behind the Hawks until they moved over to the other side of the arena. But I used to sit right there and just watching his interaction with the team and everything and the other players and things of that nature. Even with the fans, he was always so nice and cordial with the fans. Anyway, let's stay focused. Let's get back on it. So this Pacers team, I'm telling you, they were very, very smart with what they did. Like I said, they built around Haliburton after they were able to flip Sabonis for Haliburton. Then they built around him. In 2022, they drafted Mathurin in the first round and Nembhard late first round, early second round, somewhere up in there. Then in 2024, that's when they made that big trade after the 23 season ended, and they got Siakam. Atlanta was in a hunt for Siakam, but they got him because we didn't want to give up Kobe Buffkin. So they got him. And so, they were just able to make moves, smart moves. TJ McConnell, they kept him. TJ McConnell has only played on 2 different teams. The boy is bad. 2 teams his whole career, 4 years in Philly and now 6 years with Indiana. Like, it just blows my mind. Again, when teams don't hold on to pieces that that they should be holding on to, they're just quick to get rid of pieces. You got to know the right piece to hold on. You got to have the front office to have that mindset to say, oh, this player's for the culture, this player's for the locker room, this player's for the team. We're gonna hang on to him. They were able to get Aaron Nesmith, I want to say from Boston. Matthew Brogdon, they traded him to Boston. To me, he was just new with the Pacers. I thought the Pacers drafted him or something, but upon doing my research for this video, I learned that he was actually with the Celtics before he got to the Pacers. So I don't know if he was floating around in their G League, sitting at the end of their bench, or what the deal was with him, but apparently it was a steal. He's actually starting for the Pacers right now, which in my opinion, it should be Mathurin, but Mathurin's so good coming off that bench, they probably don't want to break up, him being that second unit leader out there, go-to person for the second unit. But with TJ McConnell, you'll be all right, because TJ be cooking. TJ McConnell be playing that funky music. If you know, you know. The coaching staff is great here. You got to give them a shout out, with their fast pace, ball movement, 3-point shooting. That ball stay moving. Them guys stay running and cutting. They're never still. They're going to come out and get that ball if their teammate is in trouble. It just seems like every one of them, their basketball IQ is up to par. One thing that I noticed in watching them, as they switch people out, even if they take out and bring in the second unit, their game looks the same. Their players are playing the same. That point is playing like Haliburton. That shooting guard is playing like Nembhard. That small forward is playing like Nesmith, right? And that 4 is playing like Siakam. That 5 is playing just like Turner. Like, it's crazy because they're locked in. I heard a lot of people talk about being locked in the workforce and then even in sports. This team is the example of being locked in. They're locked in 1 through 12. However many players they're playing, usually 10, they are locked in. And I never really paid this much attention, but something I noticed also is that their leader, Tyrese Haliburton, he sits with the coaches. Now, I ain't not paid much attention to if other players are doing this. I just never stood out to me, but it stood out to me with him. He sits right there by Lloyd Pierce, between Lloyd Pierce and the other coach that sits next to Carlisle. So you got Carlisle. I don't know this guy's name. You got Haliburton and Lloyd Pierce and then a couple more coaches. It's like, wow, he sits in the middle of the coaches. But hey, shout out to Paul George. That's all I got. We'll be putting up part 2 here shortly to this to give the OKC side of the Paul George saga. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, stay safe. On to the next one. Peace.